The coach is a bit shaky. No, swing over here, because that with the announcer. Because actually, I'm going to jump over on the other side. Ah, fuck it, I got to.
Let's take a look at both teams. Here's how they match up.
So I grab my beverage. Tom's got his mic.
This game is going to feature the Dallas Cowboys at the Detroit Suckdicks. Other way around, Dallas is at home against Detroit. This game features the losers of the first round games. Dallas losing to Buffalo in a close game. However, no, who did Dallas play?
Dallas, you got the sheet over there on your
Dallas
on your right, I believe.
Dallas.
Should be the
Cowboys lost to Kansas City in the first game. That game was pretty ugly.
Kansas City moving.
Kansas City pretty much walked over Dallas in the first round.
Kansas City as an undefeated.
And Kansas City being 2-0 at this point. Okay, the Detroit lost to Buffalo. Buffalo came back and beat Detroit in the first game. So this leaves two good teams that came pretty much didn't do real well in the first game, but this could be a really, really good matchup.
But I think the snow was the deciding factor in the Pittsburgh Cincinnati game. Definitely not in Kansas City.
At this point, we have the matchup of the night train coaches. Both coaches on the train.
Setting up for the opening kickoff. It is Dallas. Dallas to kick off. Dallas kicking off to Detroit. Detroit picks it up. Looks to be on their own 10, bringing it out to the own 30. Dallas brings about 18 yards out, 53-yard kickoff.
A fair kick and just as fair a return, as I might say.
Detroit has the ball first and 10 on their own 30. Let's see what they can do with it from here.
Wishbone. Gonna be going for a
double wishbone.
Make it yourself.
Deep drop.
Sails it to a man who was double coverage there. That was kind of rough.
Yeah, incomplete pass. Poor choice of passing. The man was double covered.
Have to move some stuff.
That would have been one heck of a catch. Detroit's got to look on working on Barry Sanders, who didn't play much the first game. They really got to incorporate him into the running game. The whole playoff series we've played. The only team that's produced any running yards really is.
And he hands off, but he doesn't know he has a run play.
Is Buffalo? That was just all jacked up.
Somebody fucked it up big time. What?
Detroit getting dropped.
Buffalo did get a lot of yardage on the running game, but they couldn't pull it out because, well, they suck.
Yeah, blow me.
Yeah, they couldn't pull it out because
they
just
beat you again.
They couldn't pull it out because they didn't have the self-control to do the coitus interruptus thing. It's back, looking for a pass, sails it finally to a man, bobbling, unable to find it, they're dancing. A musical interlude in the background from 9 Inch Nails, who are in concert in Pittsburgh tonight as we speak.
Detroit's got to look for something here. It's 4th and 15, they're on 24. I would suggest punt. Does look like they're going for it, however. Dallas sets up to try to stop this and get the ball in good field position.
With 4th and 15, this is much like Detroit to actually no, it isn't. He blasts it to absolute dick. Dick Budinsky was unable to catch it on that play.
With that incompletion, that gives Dallas the ball, really good field position, like on their own, on Detroit 25, 1st and 10. We'll see what they can do. This would be a good chance for early scoring here in the first quarter.
Scoring is definitely vital in the first quarter. It does set up the mood of the entire game. And Dallas is known to be a fair scorer in the first part. And
my goodness, Michael Irvin.
As I was speaking, they strike early, they strike hard. Dallas Cowboys. Gotta love them.
The thing you got to watch for here, that was a nice touch, 23-yard touchdown pass to number 88, Michael Irvin. But the biggest thing you got to watch for here is Dallas is a team that can score and put a lot of points on the board. You can't let them run away with this. You've got to play tough defense. You got to make smart choices on offense. Punt the ball when necessary. You know, you can't give them good field position. Turnovers could be key. This game could get out of hand.
No. Thank you. Fuck it. I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Anyway, Dallas set to kick off. Now leading 7-0 after a successful extra point attempt. The kick is long and deep, all the way to the goal line. Detroit's bringing it out. They're at the 15, the 20. They're across the 20, the 25. Approximately a 22-yard return, 62-yard kick. Detroit will have the ball 1st and 10. Somewhere on their 24-yard line.
I thought you were white. Yeah. Yes. Valiant return by Detroit. That was a 22-yard is an excellent average for Detroit on the returning. Rodney Pete back.
Ooh, rolling back, gets sacked, 13-yard loss. Rodney Pete's got to watch that.
Rodney Pete's been having problems this starting in this this tournament here.
The offensive line from Detroit just seems to be getting beat off the ball badly. I mean,
we have an editorial here.
But as we saw last game, I tell you what, Detroit can really pull it through on them 4th downs.
Thank you.
Ooh, stepping out of the end zone for a safety. Detroit screws up. That can just be called flagrantly bad. Dallas is now leading 9-0 and will still retain the ball. This game could get well out of hand quickly.
We have a, right now, can you turn that down? Right now we have a special guest in the booth. It's a man that we all come to know and love. Not you, putz. Mr. Saul Rosenberg. It's an editorial by Saul Rosenberg. Go ahead, Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes, I'd like to talk to somebody about warts.
Go ahead, Mr. Rosenberg.
Well, yes. You see, I have warts all over my ass and genitalia. And they're awful. And they're silly looking.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg. For written transcript of Mr. Rosenberg's comments, please send a self-abuse stamped envelope to Nightline, care of KVI, Slippery Rock.
The deep pass.
16057.
Completes the 36-yard pass to number 80, Alvin Harper. He didn't play much in the first game. He only caught 1 pass, but that was for a touchdown. However, this game he could play a great deal and could catch a lot of passes. Dallas is looking really good early on. 2 minutes relating in this thing, and it's going to get down to the 2-minute warning. I think we're going to see that 2-minute warning. Oh, maybe not. It looks to be maybe a 5-yard gain. Yes, that's going to leave Dallas with a 2nd and 5 on the Detroit 17. Dallas is really looking to be dominating this game right now, and if Detroit doesn't solidify their defense and regroup offensively, this game will get well out of hand.
And talking about a team who can catch anything, we'll notice that the same phenomenon takes place in the Steelers with one common tie between them. This coach right here, I'm not sure what he's teaching them. I don't know what he's giving them, what kind of drugs. Just the catching is phenomenal. Maybe he's got something to do with the Super Glue sponsorship for his football clubs.
Well, that's very possible. Regardless, in the last play, Dallas did lose points. Detroit did solidify a little bit here. They dropped them for a loss. This is going to be a big play. Their needs really... Oh, my goodness. That was a touchdown to number 25. That was just absolutely tremendous. Right across the center of the field. That was just beautiful. This game is going to be well out of hand very quickly.
This is just blistering here.
But as we saw last game, Kansas City came back all in the 4th quarter to take the lead and win the game 13-8.
And that was Mr.
We all know Kansas City sucks a big dick.
Please send a fuck it.
Kansas City sucks a big dick. Dallas leading 16-0. Looking at...
He may be going up against Cincinnati.
Yes.
Which
it's
is
very
kind of
possible.
like going up against a junior. That's what I mean. Kind of like going up against a junior high school team. If he wins, it was expected. If he loses, he's going to be humiliated beyond all belief.
59-yard kickoff, 21-yard return. Detroit looks to have the ball somewhere around their own 24 with 1st and 10. They really need to regroup. They need to put points on the board this half. A touchdown is really a need. They have to show some sort of offensive push. Otherwise, it's going to be all Dallas so far.
And it seemingly has been all Dallas. And by the strategy of Matthew Weller with his Detroit Lions, it would seem that this game is going to be all Detroit for the remainder of the time.
Well, Dallas seems to have... Dallas seems to be putting together really tough defense. And they really seem to be just dominating this game in all factors right now. Detroit really needs to sit back and evaluate what is going on and really just pull together and start putting some points on the board. It's as simple as that.
And Detroit with a big pass themselves. Detroit with a passing game. It would seem that they're tight on the short passes, but in the longer passes, the men lose control, lose track of the ball. I mean, there are bright lights out there in Dallas at this time. We've seen the tremendous lights and. Oh, sorry, I lost track of my thought.
Animal. I want to feel.
And a big run there. It'll bring up a 4th and 1. Decisions to make.
This could be the biggest play of the first half thus far. Detroit with a 4th and 1 of their own 34. It's going to bring about the beginning of the second quarter. I really think going forward is key just because they've got to get the momentum back in this game. To get that momentum back, they'd have to at least get a field goal on this touchdown. They've got to at least get some points on the board, but they have to go for this because punting it away would just be giving it back up, and they just really can't afford to lose more momentum than they have already. Oh my God! Sanders, that must be 43-yard pass to Barry Sanders. 1st and 10 all the way down to the freaking Dallas 24. What do you think of that?
I believe that the Yoo-hoo break in between the first and second quarter for Matt's team, I believe that's really starting to kick in because the he gave them that chocolate soda, that refreshing taste. What else can you say about it?
I see a sack.
It's quite a remarkable drink. It really does give the energy it needs.
It's not a
full of carbs.
It's not a Tuma.
This game has been brought to you by Yoo-hoo.
I believe that they had a little bit. What was the name of that cola that had all the caffeine in it? Jolt. Yes.
I believe Jolt was outlawed several years ago.
They still have it in Ohio.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
No, they have it in Pittsburgh too.
In Pittsburgh.
Looking for the touchdown. Deep. Wide open. Barry Sanders all the way down to the 6-yard line. 20-yard gain. 1st and goal, Detroit.
And the caffeinated beverage strikes again.
I think the Yoo-hoo break, just as Keyz pointed out, was very key. They seem to be turning up the offense, and Dallas seems to be clueless as to what's going on at this very moment. The night train is kicked in.
Yoo-hoo is definitely a very nutritious drink and so good for you, as well as all those loaded with carbs and protein and whey. Don't forget the whey and cum.
And whey and cum.
Yes. Much cum and whey in there.
Dallas showed a good defensive play there. I think they're relying a little too heavily on Barry Sanders in the pass. I think they really need to look for Sanders on the run here. They're only on the...
What the fuck is he going? Jesus Christ. He threw it to the crowd.
That was ugly. I believe. I think a halfback option would be your best possibility right now.
Speaking of screen,
3rd and goal on the 9.
The screen on the microphone is busted. Speaking of screen.
Who, me?
That is fucking dildo mic over here.
Detroit, 3rd and 9 in the Dallas. They really just got ass-fucked for another yard loss. 4th and goal. I think the field goal would be the best opportunity just because they got to put some points on the board. It would show something because if they come out of this drive with nothing, would hurt.
The points on the board would be good at this time. I figure that if they did get a touchdown, if they did go for it and it did pay off for them, this would shift the momentum of the game to a point where Detroit might actually be able to take over.
Well, it looks like...
And he went for it and he fucked up. So
it's going to be turned over. That looks like Dallas is going to have the ball on their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, you'll have
1st and 10.
And for the second game in a row, the ref is not on steroids nor on shrinking fluids. He's been drinking Yoo-hoo too. You know, everybody's been drinking Yoo-hoo. It's just they outlawed beer in the stadiums. They got Yoo-hoos now. Everybody's drinking it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a
big pat. He's Dallas is all the way back. Sails it down. Big reception there, but torn up quickly at the 40. As we're looking at the 35-yard line. Somewhere in between, I'd say the 38 at this point.
1st and 10 on their own 38. It was a beautiful pass play. I think right now they're just looking maybe to get into field goal range and really just add some points to the board. The 2-minute warning comes around, and what would you interpret of this first half?
This first half has just been completely dominated by Dallas. However, Detroit has shown late. Excuse me, I have to break for a second. Break for that immediate fart, and I think I just shook the bed. And God, the mic stinks. The mic smells bad.
Smells like ass.
Smells like ass. As I was saying, the big pass. Almost picked up. But Dallas has been dominating, though Detroit has shown some spirit. With that spirit, I think they can take it to a point where they may bring back the game within 2 touchdowns, perhaps even taking the lead with a field goal. But it's, as I say, they have to concentrate on the way through.
Well,
I'll
really
call the
think
newspaper.
right now Detroit really needs to
I'm thrilled.
put the hammer down. They've really got to stop them in this drive. They can't allow them to get points here. It'd be just a feat.
Licky!
Oh, that
We have a
was just
psycho
bad.
drunk asshole in that booth there.
Right now, there's a timeout being called by Dallas on the field. That was a 27-yard completion to Alvin Harper. That brings the ball to 1st and 10 on the Detroit 32 for the Cowboys. They're looking touchdown. And if they get this touchdown, that's 23-0.
I'd say the
Detroit
game's over.
can't stop them going out of this quarter. This is really, really going to put a damper on their spirits coming out for the second half.
A 23-point lead for Dallas would undoubtedly dominate the entire game. And this may be it right here. That's it. That's it. This game is really over. Dallas, I mean, the number 1 rated team, and Detroit's going up against them. Though Detroit does have some spirit, the coaching has been lackluster, and there's not a whole lot that can be done with it. With that drive, there was 4 plays, 86 yards. I mean, they don't get a whole lot better than that.
It's all done in the air. No Emmitt Smith this game. You must wonder about that.
Emmitt Smith has
Yet to make an appearance.
yes, he's been resting. I heard with the bad ankle, he's resting it. He's going to run some
Pulled
plays.
his nutsack jacking off the other night, and he will not be playing this afternoon.
I didn't want to say it. I really didn't.
What?
It's such a private issue.
I felt the public needed to know.
Emmett is very privative about that, but since he pulled a nutsack, I guess it needs to be known throughout the land that Emmett's
Going to
not-
Tim on the sidelines, yes, I did hear that he pulled his left testicle, and it was very romantic.
Thank you.
Back to the box. 63-yard kickoff, 14-yard return. I think right now, Detroit.
Right now we need to break for another fart. Thank you. God, the mic stinks. Go ahead.
Detroit, with minute 15, needs to charge down the field for at least a field goal. It's the only thing that might be able to swing some momentum going into that locker room at halftime. Otherwise, they've just got no positive to look at, and that's really what they need to have right now. The defense hasn't produced much. The offense hasn't done anything. They need some points on the board.
And I think the coach's lacking of controlling the characters on the passes themselves has proved to be proved to be detrimental. We're talking about prunes and constipation over here. I don't know. This has been sponsored by Prune Juice also for the give you the runs. And speaking of runs, that's been the only real offensive effort. And believe me, it is offensive, terrible. That's the only offensive effort that Detroit has really shown in this game. They have to stick with the running game, stick with the man. Barry Sanders, get in there, try to do some damage. Because if they don't soon, it may be over.
Sanders has been real effective in the pass plays. They've yet to really run him much, and I think that's been a problem. Sanders can break tackles. He can get big plays, big yards, but they really haven't used him much. The first game they played against the Buffalo Bills, Sanders was shut down hard. He really hasn't come out this game to really attempt to do anything. I really think that he needs to be incorporated into their running game. They have to incorporate a running game into their offense.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to that.
To do.
Barry Sanders, he's a big man, he's a quick man, but he works low to the ground. He can get in there, he can get between, he can find the holes, get in there and penetrate. Speaking of penetration,
I think Detroit's getting fucked right now.
Yeah, yes, and they're not using any Vaseline.
No protection either. I think they're going to get a disease. That was a turnover on downs. That was just silly because now Dallas is going to have the opportunity to put 3 or 7 more points on the board. There's enough time remaining to kick a field goal. 26-0.
And I believe
if he calls a timeout, I will laugh because the clock was already stopped on the turnover of downs.
I believe they have called in the physical therapists to take care of the social disease which has conspired in this game, and they'll be treating them later with penicillin.
Yeah, Dallas is going to have no problem whatsoever putting some more points on the boards here if they just concentrate on keeping the ball in bounds. It looks like they're going for the touchdown. They're getting awful cocky. I'd go for the field goal here to put 3 more points on the board. 26-0. That's over 3 touchdowns. That's almost 4 touchdowns.
And I think their Johnsons are 3 streets to the wind.
I think that too.
I don't know what it
I'd really
means.
be shooting that field goal. 9 seconds left. That would really put a nail in a coffin right now.
They're calling for a field goal, which is a very strategic play, even though points have really become arbitrary in this game. And they're
that
possible,
might just have made
possible.
it. I think that did make it.
And
It's
it did
up
make
and
it
good.
just on the inside.
Almost hit the post. Well, that was a short drive. No passes, or no successful passes, no rushes. Just a 32-yard field goal, 15 seconds. I think there's approximately 6 seconds left on the clock. The kickoff by Dallas. Wouldn't it be pretty to see a Detroit return?
It would be pretty, but realistic, I don't really think so in this case. We're going to check these. Give me the previous sheet there with the score sheets on it. There we go. We will check the performance of Detroit in the previous game. They played at Buffalo, and against Buffalo, they only lost. I mean, they got 2 touchdowns. They only lost by a last-minute field goal. In Buffalo, that's understandable because the spirit of the Buffalo cheers, the cheerleaders, the crowd, everything. It's energetic. You got to love it. But I love that too. It was powerful, and we understand why Detroit lost there. But Detroit has shown just a pathetic showing this time around. They really got to try to pull something together, and they'll be kicking off here.
In this 3-game elimination series, Detroit would fall behind by 2 right here. They'd have to win every other game they played in this series. One more loss after this would eliminate them completely. And if they lose this game, I believe that would put them up against
Checking this charts here.
Let me see.
Have a look at it.
If the Cowboys move forward, Detroit would be out.
Excuse me.
That would be out. I believe they would be completely out of contention.
What's that? If they lost this game?
If they lost this game.
If they lost this game, then they would go. Let me see here. So a second,
Try to read that chart for me.
It would be. They would lose this game. They would go to 6th seed and get a bye into the next round, which they will anyway, because both of these players were going to get a bye into the next round. They would run to 6th. Their next matchup would be against the player who, let's see here, were to lose. They're going to play either Buffalo or Pittsburgh. Whoever loses that game is going to go up against this Detroit team.
So pretty much you're going to look at Pittsburgh and a Pittsburgh-Detroit matchup, because surely enough, Buffalo is going to cream Pittsburgh.
Yes.
There will be no 100-yard returns because we're not Cincinnati. And, I mean, when you look at this, Pittsburgh's going to be going on 2 losses. Detroit's going to be going on 2 losses. That is going to be a game that everybody's going to want to watch, because whoever loses that is just fucked.
Yes, truly.
I tell you what, Buffalo is a strong team. Even though they lost to Kansas City, it was a remarkable comeback by Kansas City. They dominated the game, the entire game. Just a remarkable comeback by Kansas City. Other than that, they totally dominated the game. Even in yardage, they totally dominated. I tell you what, Buffalo's a tough team to beat. I'd hate to face them again myself.
Going back to the game briefly, another tremendous pass by Dallas, a first down. Like, it's purely academic right now.
Right now, it builds up the stats, and it really just hoped to roll Dallas, who lost their first game. They're looking to pull 1-1, and if Dallas wins this game, next they would be facing. Well, they would have a bye. They would have a bye in the next series. Both of these teams have a bye, but Dallas would then be seeded 4th in the next round, and the 4th round seed will play the 3rd round seed, who is going to be the winner of the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game, and that means Dallas could be looking at playing Pittsburgh. Or Dallas could be looking at playing Buffalo.
Actually. That would be a Super Bowl rematch.
Dallas-Buffalo would be the Super Bowl rematch from last year. That could be a really interesting game.
Or it could be a disastrous slaughterhouse as it was in the Super Bowl.
Yes, it could be. I don't think it's going to be the same thing, however.
The winner of our game will be getting a bye in the next round after a grueling first 3 rounds. The loser of our game also gets the bye. No, wait a second. Where's that go? They go to 4th seed, who will go up against the winner of the Buffalo-Pitt game. Wait a second. What happened here? As we're going to review these charts, what were we talking about before here?
I think 4th round automatically goes to Buffalo.
Because the 4th seed gets the bye up to position number 3. Strangely enough, they move out without a win. It's just one of the stipulations of the tournament. They will get a bye after that. They will get 2 byes. The winner of this game will get 2 byes all the way into the next matchup, which will be against the number 1 seed, whoever that may be. we will be we'll be going up against each other. The winner will go up against the winner of this game. So we might be looking at the Kansas City versus possible Kansas City versus Cowboys, which would be an excellent showdown. Yes, it has. We had one.
In my prediction for the next few rounds, I see the Cincinnati pulling off yet another upset. I don't think that, though Kansas City is good, I don't think they're good enough. Cincinnati's going to roll through 2 byes. That would put Kansas City in the 2nd seed.
Let's take a moment to reflect on that tremendous pass play that was just occurred. 30-yard gain. Detroit, there's a big passing game. They may have not completely lost the spirit after all. This game, it's like I say, it's academic. But going into the next round, they may do a little damage. They're going to be trying to take as many people with them.
Well, they don't want to leave without anything there, Keyz. They want to leave with at least some kind of positive in this game. You got to at least make some points on the board.
With one win, they may change the course of the entire tournament because they will be going. That means they will survive to go on to another battle. Could be. Never know what happens until it happens. And here he's back again. Rodney Peake gets munched.
If Buffalo can win,
there's a guy out there. What the hell is he
the
doing?
third round, they very possibly could come out as the 2nd seed to the 4th round. The 2nd seed in the 4th round will play the 4th seed. Who is going to be the winner of this game? The winner of this game and them, if thus Buffalo would continue and win, they would be seeded
still short.
Number 1. No, they would still be seeded number 2. I'm sorry.
It's a 4th and 1. Detroit may go for it.
Big goal line.
They're looking for a big goal line. They're not going to find it. It's a very thin line. It's a fine line that divides the champions from the
fine line. It's been more of a concrete barrier for the Detroit Lions so far. They haven't been able to overcome it. However, Barry Sanders, I think he's short.
He's got it.
By a pubic hair. Barry Sanders, it's about time he got brought into the game. I was waiting for his appearance, and what more appropriate a time than right now?
By a very fine pubic hair, I would think.
Yes,
there.
it was. Regardless, who cares?
Oh, Christ. And we're waiting for something to happen here. There's a 1-yard loss. Just brings up a 2nd and goal here. All Detroit needs is one perfect play, and that would be a score for them.
So wait, what seed would I go down to if I lost to you?
If you lost, I think you fall to 3rd. No, 4th seed. Possibly.
Suck a dick.
Telisplat is a very complex tournament where anything can happen. A lot depends on the games previous to it.
Well, I guess we didn't see
Yes, it was random seeding from the beginning. I mean, whenever you're drawing cards to find out the seeding, and that's a little bit random, I say.
Well, I think Buffalo was certainly given no advantages in the beginning because I believe they started seeded 4th.
Yes, I do.
And if they win their next game, they will be seeded 2nd. So we began seeded 4th.
And
if
we
we win the next game, we will be seeded.
Shaking it down.
Oh my God, did they score? Detroit, 12-yard touchdown pass. 3 minutes and 13 seconds on the drive, setting up for the extra point. It might not mean as much for this game, but it certainly is an emotional boost going into their next game. Yeah, I think they do. And I think nonetheless, even though this game is sort of well out of hand, Detroit needs to take the time to maybe punch another one in, another long drive put together, another very fundamental drive put together. And if they can do that, they can walk into the next round and they might be a little bit more confident about winning.
And he brings it out of the end zone to the 15, to the 20. He's going to be met by some resistance at about the 23, and that'll be it. A good 27-yard gain, though. Very risky play. Would have pulled for the touchback. But at this point, Detroit really, or Dallas, I'm sorry, doesn't have anything to lose.
At this moment, I would like to say that in my room, I now have blinds.
That's touching.
Having a fucking clue.
I.
Uh-oh. Oh, trying to catch it with his ass.
That would have been a tough catch. Nonetheless, I think he would have needed some dones for his back after that. He sort of fell over, and I think that looked like it was painful.
This game has also been brought to you by Doan's Pills, will have you know, for serious back pain. Look at Doan's.
And Malox and Mylanta, because my doctor said Mylanta.
My doctor said, my God, you're really in deep shit.
Well, you know, hey, everything to everybody.
Yes. 22's wide open up center. He sails it to 88, though.
Alvin.
Beautiful pass. 35.
Shotgun Harper.
Oh, he kicks him afterwards. Look for
64 yards. That was beautiful.
Unsportsmanlike conduct possible, but they're not going to call it.
I wipe my ass with Dallas. I wipe my ass with Dallas. His testicles
Clock
are small.
being running in the fourth quarter here. Going to be closing out this game.
I don't even want to go for death dogs. I want to continue this.
Yes, many questions to be answered left in this tournament. Who's going to win? Who's going to survive?
It's not even 2 in the morning yet, and you're talking about going for food. I think there's another game after this before Death Dogs. Death Dogs at 2.
Is Cincinnati going to actually create a team from players wearing the same clothes and helmets? They'll be facing Kansas City in the next game. That is the very next game, as we'll have you know.
Look at that hit. There was 10
What?
guys in on that tackle.
More beer for what? Not really.
For the offensive? I think Tom needs to get the cigarettes out of the
There's a certain distribution of alcohol involved in this football tournament.
Suck a dick.
They've guzzled Night Train. Oh, defensive lackluster performance, but they will still hold them within inches of the first down. And cigarettes also. We got alcohol, cigarettes. They spend more money on those than education.
Dick smoke, Dallas scoring. Oh my God, again.
What bars? Slippery Rock? Huh? Oh.
Rye-town. 2-minute motherfucking warning. This game is almost over, thank God.
It was just a slaughterhouse here. But a very good showing of performance by Detroit.
I tell you what, Tom, there's going to be a fucking battle coming up next between the Bung Holes and the Power Chiefs.
The Bung Holes? They like it like that.
Yes, I think the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco Chiefs really are going to have an excellent game.
Well, as coach of these Cincinnati Bung Holes, I will say that...
Oh, my God, this game is out of hand. Please shut off the TV. I'm going to cry.
As we remember, there is quite a rivalry involved in this next game, despite the teams themselves. Former coach, if you step in here for a second, tell them about the rivalry that's occurred.
See, I remember the days when Kansas City used to fuck the shit out of the Bengals.
Not necessarily that, but former coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and me being the former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
I thought that was the L.A. Rams.
No, was it the Rams?
Yes, you did beat me with the Rams 21-17 on a last-minute play, but that was bullshit, and you know it.
What do you mean bullshit? Bullshit this.
I mean, I'm sorry when some bitch is sitting there deep-throating me. I just can't concentrate on it.
Well, definitely, I mean, there's not going to be any bullshit next game. It's going to involve... What are you doing? He doesn't want to blow you? Okay. Detroit from the listings. And, oh, sorry. I was thinking of something else at the time. But I don't know what the hell I was saying. What the hell was I saying?
You were talking about how that Kansas City's going to beat the shit out of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, speaking of bullshit, yeah, that reminds me. Next game, there's not going to be any bullshit. It's going to be purely, there's going to be a lot of strategy involved. I mean, it's pure and simple. It's not going to be a matter of strength or size or speed. It's going to be all strategy.
Well, there is no doubt about that, because if it was strength to strength, Kansas City would win. But I admit that the Bengals have better strategy. They have a better coach, probably. He's been playing the game a lot longer than Kansas City. He probably has better strategy, and it's going to come down to that. It could very well be down to the very last play of the game.
Well, strategy is kind of useless when you don't have the tools.
Well, Cincinnati doesn't have the tools, but we'll see what's going to happen.
Cincinnati isn't the tools, I should say, because they bite big booty balls.
They bite big booty balls.
Big booty balls.
Booty balls,
big
quoted
balls
from the Cincinnati coach himself. Giving it back to Tom. Here I am at it.
I do have confidence in my
Give
guys.
it to Matt because I'm playing for him.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
The coach of the Detroit Lions here in the booth with us at the time. What do you think of this team? I mean, they've had a strong showing in the first game. This game, they've just been falling apart. Do you think it's the night train you've been using as IV systems?
Well, first of all, I'd have to say it would be due to the fact that Detroit sucks, and they have always sucked, and they will continue to suck for the next several hundred years. And I would also have to say, partly due to the fact night train that I've been drinking enough night train to sink a night train. And partly due to the fact that I've never played this game before in my fucking life, and nor have I ever played any football game before, except for maybe Mutant League football, which hardly counts as a football game in the first place.
Well, it counts as a football game in the sense that you can kill people. I like it that way.
Well, yeah. Well, the fact that you have landmines on the field definitely does add to the football excitement. I think if definitely you added I don't know, say a Miami Dolphins, San Francisco 49ers Mutant League football game that involves some landmines in it, you would definitely have a challenging game.
And speaking of game, the game is over.
Thank God.
This is just drawn to a dramatic close for the Detroit Lions. The next round,
I have
don't
one
think it's gonna
word,
be very,
testicles.
very
Thank you.
exciting
Bye-bye.
because it's just going to be frightening, terribly frightening. It's going to be a scary situation. What
Scroll.
the hell did I talk about? I don't know.
Best efforts.
Right? Best efforts?
Seminiferous tubules.
We're speaking of male genitalia over here. Where's the pen? All right, I lost my pen.
All I know is it had something to do to go fuck.
This game's going to be brutal.
Who the
Okay, I
fuck
have
gives a hell? I don't
my
give
very
a
good
shit.
pen here.
All right, fuck it.
And 33-7.
33-7. Boy, did I get ass fucked.